It is morning time in the Kun state border city called Kupra. Suddenly, a loud sound is heard and a bomber plane is spotted approaching the city. It seems to be part of a defense routine. So everyone gets back to their routine, ignoring the distraction. Everyone except him. This one man is a homeless guy, a drug addict, a waste of life, burden on the land. He stands up, finding something unusual in the approaching plane. This person in his whole adult life did nothing worthwhile. He simply used to lay on the ground staring at the sky every day, cursing the gods for his tragic life and what has become of him. But sky gazing has taught this useless guy something important. For a city that is located on the border of the state, a defense plane passing by is very normal. But this is different. He can tell. He has observed other planes and something about this one isn't right. The color is not right, he says to himself. This guy, like many other homeless people, has built his shack on the edge of the playground. So the moment he spots the plane, he walks out of the shelter while keeping his eyes fixed on the iron wings and approaches the middle of the ground. As the plane gets closer, the homeless guy smiles, saying, "He's finally answering my prayers." It's morning time, so every citizen has begun their daily routine. The children to their school, working people getting ready to leave for the office, housewives doing their daily chores. There are others who have come to the ground to exercise and play. These are the youth for a nearby military school. They're training to become the nation's defense one day. As the plane advances, the screeching gets louder. While the others on the ground are annoyed by the noise, this homeless guy seems to be at peace. When the plane is exactly above the ground, something is deployed. Is it an important official document or a war relief food package? It is too soon to say. But now that there is an object falling, the noise is even louder and concentrated. All the people on the ground can't ignore it anymore. They all cover their ears while watching it fall. There is no time to react in any other way, but the homeless guy has a different experience. He keeps staring at the thing falling with his eyes wide open. So this is how you decide to end my life, with a bang? Suddenly, time appears to slow down for this guy as the noise turns into a divine voice. "Yes, this is what you asked for, didn't you? To bring an end to your disgusting life. At least now you will believe that God fulfills wishes." These exact words fall on his ears in form of an echoing sound. "But a bomb? You are okay with killing an entire city to just fulfill my wish? What about these youngsters on the ground, the future defenses of the city and the nation? Why do they have to die?" Yes, indeed, they are the guardian angels of the nation, but they are half-cooked. Say, if evil is to strike, then how many of them would be brave enough to put up a strong fight? Strong ones will instantly perish. Weaker ones will give in and agree to share the secrets of the nation. And those who survive will be traumatized for life, being useless for their families, themselves, and to the nation. Just like you, says the echoing voice. Instead, as the bomb drops, they will be made aware of what a war zone looks like. The pressure wave will send them off balance. It will give them an opportunity to see the death that is going to follow. There is no point in arguing with the words of God. So instead, he moves on. What of the students? The children who are right now in the adjacent school. Innocent children of all ages who are preparing for the bright future that could have been. And currently praying for the same. Praying to you. The guy without a family asks, pointing at the children standing outside in the corridor for morning prayers. What bright future do they have here in the current situation? With one terrorist strike, half of them would be killed brutally, while the other half would be recruited as terrorists themselves, doing wrong deeds as they grow up. And what of their parents? The homeless guy interrupts. Parents who are working hard to give a better future to their children. The parents, once the terrorists hijacked the school, they would be in a state of panic, trying all they can to rescue their children, and yet helpless as they won't be able to enter the school boundary without being shot at. It would be a constant physical and mental struggle of theirs, which would end up in disappointment and failure. On the other hand, with the bomb strike, the explosion would vaporize the children and their parents, then and there, not knowing what happened to them. They will have a clean death, after which they will comfortably move on to the next life. When he is told that even the families deserve to die, he tries to talk about the grayer elements of the city. And what of the corrupt government officials? The greedy businessmen building their industries on the border for profit? The jobless guy asks. You are talking about the officials whose poor management is the reason why the terrorist activity happened before and will happen again. These businessmen are the ones who finance the terrorists in exchange for their personal safety. Do you think they deserve to live a happy life? Those areas are outside the blast radius, so the pressure wave initiated by the blast would make the building structures collapse, and the people would be crushed under the debris. No struggle, but a comparatively more painful death, which they had it coming. Seeing God dodge his questions with proper answers, he goes even darker. And the prisoners in the jail, which is located on the edge of the city away from the border, what would happen to them, you say? Asks the drug addict. Certainly the pressure wave would crush the jail, but instead of instant death, they will be buried alive. Since help and rescue don't come to place like this, they will die taking the last breaths of their life, doing the last few moments of their jail time. After it, they will be free of their sins. Hearing that God has plans for both the good and the bad, he asks the last question on his mind. There is an army guiding the borderline just outside the city limits. Do they deserve to die too? Asks the guy who tried to get an army several times but failed. Those brave soldiers have sworn to die protecting their motherland. They will accept death proudly as it comes. As a matter of fact, most of them have already. This last part is a bit confusing for the homeless guy, but the God continues. One thing that you don't know is, as we speak, there is an ongoing fight between the army and the terrorists. The army is outnumbered and outgunned. Any moment now, this impenetrable wall made by the men of steel will be crushed. The thing I said from the beginning is the exact plan of the terrorists. They will crush the army, brutally killing each one of them. Then entering the city, they will take control of the school and free the prisoners from the prison. The corrupt government officials and the greedy industrialists won't resist. And so with their support, the backer terrorists will come, which are going to arrive later today. Together they will take control of the city, and hence the events will follow as I described earlier. God knows what is right for everyone, and that's why what happens happens. The somewhat atheist guy has nothing more to ask, as his conscience is cleared of all doubts. And so he decides to accept his death with arms stretched wide. But God is not done talking. There's one more who will die today that you didn't ask about. The guy is confused. He does not understand what God is talking about. But then God continues. The city itself will die today. Yes, the city has a soul. The soul which is kept alive by the people living in it. Just like an actual person, the city thinks, decides, and acts. Don't believe me? The actual plan of the terrorist was to keep the army distracted and then send the plane with a bomb to destroy the capital city. But that didn't happen because the electromagnetic disturbance prematurely deployed the bomb, which is now coming to you. This was the city's decision to take, and it took it. The homeless guy wonders why God is telling him all this. As it is, it does not matter to him since he's gonna die anyway. Still, he continues to listen. Every city has a role to play. This Kupra of yours has decided to be a soldier today. Kupra is a city that has guarded the nation, being the wall of defense on the border, willing to always sacrifice itself for the safety of the nation, and hence it has chosen a quick death over being corrupted and half dead while crying tears of blood. The bomb comes closer, and for a moment it's right on top of this weak, skinny man. It appears as if he's lifting the bomb in his hands. That's when God utters the last words, whispering in his ears. I have right now made you omnipotent, so that you are able to stop the bomb from hitting the ground and avoid the explosion from happening. But with strength, you need to have wisdom to understand when it's time to use your strength, stop something bad from happening, or stop resisting and accept your fate. The bomb eventually lands, triggering a huge explosion. In that instant, the entire city is erased from existence. The bomb kills everyone and everything, including the terrorists that have infiltrated the city limits and the bomber plane that caused it all. At this point, I want to summarize the story in one line. Death is something that comes for everyone, but how it comes, that is for you to decide.